Alright, so as most of you may know, sharks are one of my favourite marine creatures of all time, and so I decided, you know what, I'm going to make another video on it. I had another video in mind, but I just wanted to do this one out of fun, out of something enjoyable. Not saying the others aren't, they're a lot of fun to do, but I wanted to really do a shark one for some reason, so I just did it. So when you see this creature and consider it to be your favorite animal, you probably think I'm like a closet serial killer. But aside from their cool features, they're actually some pretty complex animals and are responsible for the upkeep of almost every environment that they inhabit. So, with that being said, I want to discuss what would happen if every single shark disappeared from the ocean. Sharks are extraordinary creatures that have inhabited the oceans for over 400 million years and have adapted to inhabit almost every zone of the ocean. There's also roughly 470 species of sharks in the waters that range between rivers, lakes, and oceans. Now, with the fact that we've only really scratched the surface of 5% of the Earth's oceans, there's no telling what type of other shark species are out there. We barely know what is in the oceans today in 2019. Sharks inhabit almost every single zone of the ocean, from shallow waters to the pelagic zone, to bottom dwellers, to the abyssal zone of the oceans. Sharks command every zone in the oceans. They also can range into rivers and lakes as well as estuaries. But they're not to be feared, as much as the media tries to instill that into you. These species are not to be feared. In fact, sharks are still a mystery to us. We don't definitively know how long sharks live for. In fact, scientists have only studied probably a fraction of the species that are out there and identified their length that they live, with the most notably being the Greenland shark, that has been said to live for well over 200 years, roughly. Regardless of a shark's location, they are an extremely important predator that maintains the upkeep and the health of the location that they inhabit. For example, Jenny Bortoluzzi, I butchered that probably, I'm sorry, who works in the Department of Zoology at Trinity College in Dublin, in Ireland, has stated that tiger sharks that patrol seagrass areas scare off sea turtles that would otherwise completely decimate, or I'd say graze on, all of the seagrass in that one area. Sharks have also been stated to control the oxygen content of a said location by regulating the fish numbers that would otherwise eat phytoplankton, or algae, in other words, that would produce oxygen. This is still hazy research to dabble in. It's not, I guess, confirmed, but it's still an interesting take on the actual importance of these species in certain environments. One of the main reasons a coral reef is teeming with life is because the predator population, namely sharks, is booming, or healthy would be another word. And what they'll do is remove any sick or injured species, or regulate any species that may or may not be overpopulated from that environment, allowing a constant cycle of healthy biodiversity within that location. That's why if you go to a reef and it's teeming with life, or it's very colourful, you can thank the predators. Sharks also play an important vital role in the economy for us. What I mean by this is that sharks will indirectly affect the amount of fish caught by fisheries. What I mean is that a shark will upkeep a certain area, right? It'll remove the sick and injured species. It'll also maintain certain populations, or certain population sizes. This means that fisheries are able to catch their required amount of food or fish for their, I guess, the amount that they're allowed to take in. Because the environment's healthy. It's got the life it needs. It also means that ecotourism, which is a massive thing, is able to constantly keep bringing in money because the sharks, which are huge in ecotourism, everyone wants to swim with sharks. Well, most people, I guess. If you see a shark, it's kind of exhilarating. It brings in a lot of money. In fact, a single shark estimated to be around $2 million for ecotourism. I think it's over the course of its lifetime, it's $2 million. Okay, let's get into what would happen if we completely removed that keystone species from the environment. This is what's going to happen if we keep removing, or for a better word, massacring shark populations. Their millions of years of adaptation and lineage could just be wiped out in 100 years by us. What I mean is that what we've effectively done is placed a very keystone species, or a very, very important predator, in harm's way. In fact, 25% of all known shark species are listed as endangered or critically endangered. Let's not forget that 100 million species of sharks, or 100 million sharks, are being killed for their fins annually, as opposed to 5 or 6 people being killed by sharks annually. Most of the time it's mistaken identity or wrong place, wrong time. So let me break it down what's going to happen if we just completely remove these beings from the face of the planet, because it's not good. If we remove sharks from the environment, it means that we will have low order predators over-exploiting prey items, which will deregulate plankton populations. Okay? That means we could have this instead of this. Not very appetizing, right? It's not something you want to go swimming in. A study conducted in North Carolina showed that the removal of hammerheads from the environment caused an increase in stingray populations. Now, this area was a major scallop fisheries industry. Okay? What happens is that the booming stingray population loves scallops, favorite food. So they ate them all. This meant that the fisheries had to close because there was no or not enough scallops in the area to upkeep the money required for the industry. And this also meant that once the scallops were gone, so were the stingrays. It's basically a dead zone for animals. Schools of fish could turn into chaos because the sick and injured species are not removed from the environment. Furthermore, there could be some major behavioral changes in lower order predators if the higher order predators are taken out of the equation. What I mean is that a shark doesn't necessarily have to eat its prey item. Its mere presence is enough to shift the behavior of certain species within an environment, making them be more cautious rather than relaxed and overconfident. So here's the reality of it all. If we continue to go down this path and completely eradicate sharks for their fins or simply out of fear, then that's exactly what's going to happen. We're going to have environments that will completely change. We're going to have behavioral changes in species becoming more confident and overexploiting a certain prey population. We're going to see coral reefs turn into swarms of algae. We're going to see coral reefs die off faster than we expected. As I said before, in North Carolina, a single species of shark was removed that controlled the prey population, or stingrays, in that area. Stingrays boomed, ate all the scallops, left, and there's not much there now. So what we need to do, stop killing a ridiculously large amount of sharks. That's not necessary. Educate people on the fact that these species are not to be feared, but rather respected and I guess admired. Anyway, that was that. That was just a nice little video about sharks and what would happen if they're gone. So, I hope you like that. Make sure you educate, don't eradicate, and make sure you like, comment, subscribe. It truly helps. Share it around. Helps me a lot. And I will see you guys next week for the video that I was going to record this week. And yeah, enjoy your day, have fun, stay educated, I guess. See you next Wednesday.